I was in this, perhaps a 7th grade math class or arithmetic class, and the teacher, as I go and sit down, teachers liked me and accepted me, and I sat there, maybe about 23, 24 kids in the class, and the teacher was teaching a little math lesson. And as I looked around, it became apparent to me that the only one who was giving any attention to the lesson was me. Nobody else was paying the least. The kids weren't terribly disruptive or out of order or anything, but they were sitting quietly, they're talking. A few were walking around. Maybe 4 or 5 had their heads on their desk with their hoods pulled over their heads. And some were just writing a little bit or doodling. And so it was a very normal class at the Schwab School. And I found that in almost none of the classes did anyone pay any attention, but in the math classes especially. And so after the teacher gave the little lesson, little lecture type, and if a person had come from a college like a College of Education and had seen what was going on, probably would have given the teacher a good rating. I mean, I don't know much about what a good lesson should be, but it certainly seemed reasonably good to me. I enjoyed it, but I was the only one watching it and listening. And so I went up to a girl who was sitting there near me. I sit just with the students, and she was sitting but I moved over to her because she seemed to be paying some attention to something she was writing busily in a spiral pad, and I certainly didn't want to discourage her from doing that, because any writing that any kid will ever do in any school is good. Never ever stop a kid from writing, no matter what's going on. But I kind of thought I ought to just chat with her a little bit, and so I said, the teacher, when he finished his lesson, had said, now there are the problems on the board, do the 4 problems. He put 4 problems on the board. And I said to her, and this is the exact dialogue, I remember it very clearly, are you going to do the problems? And she said, what problems? Just like that. I'm catching her inflection perfectly. No rancor in her voice whatsoever, just what problems? I said, the problems that the teacher has put on the board. And she said, where? And so I said, over there on the board. And they were to the side. And she looked over there, and she said, oh. And I said, well, are you going to do them? And she said, no. Well, see, this is the point where 39 years of expertise fail you. I mean, what do you say when a kid just politely says no? I mean, there are things that people would do, but those are the things I teach people not to do. So what am I going to tell her? So I thought for a moment, and I said, well, how about just doing the first problem? And she said, okay. And she did the first problem and did it did it well. It wasn't a hard problem or anything like that. And I said to her, well, that's good. She went back to her writing. And I said, well, as long as you've done the first problem, why don't you do all the work for today? Just do the other 3. And she said, okay. Well, what do you do in a quality school? What you do in a quality school, if you're the manager of the school, hopefully a lead manager, the principal, then you're trying to manage your school so that your teachers place you into their quality worlds. You can't force yourself into anyone's quality world. There's an old song, remember the song, you made me love you, I didn't want to do it? It's not true. When you love someone, it's because you wanted to do it. No doubt about that at all. No one can make you love you. It can't be done. But if you give certain information, it's obviously much more likely someone will love you than if you give other information. And so what you need to do as a principal, a teacher, a superintendent, whomever you are, working in this school, because we're focusing now on schools, is what I'm doing, what I'm choosing to do, my actual behavior, is this getting me more or less into the quality worlds of the kids that I'm teaching, the teachers that I'm working with and managing, the parents who are sending the children to school. It's the quality world of all these people. When Kay Bentley, the principal of the Huntington Woods Elementary School in Wyoming, Michigan, a town surrounded by Grand Rapids, Michigan, when I said to Kay, from what I can see about your school, I've been there 3 or 4 times, I've talked to the parents, I've talked to the kids, I've met the teachers on many occasions, both coming to our training and in there. Well, not many, but enough so I know some of them quite well. I said to her, why don't you maybe think about declaring that your school is a quality school? Because as I'll explain in a few moments, it's not something I do. It's something the school says, I think we are, and we can back it up with all this stuff. And so she said, well, you know, it's a big deal, because if we declare ourselves a quality school, people are going to come and take a look. And if they don't see it, it's going to be embarrassing. I said, well, I think they'll see it. She said, well, a lot of people are coming. They're already coming to school. In fact, for those of you who are worried about school finances, she's a very shrewd woman, because her school is really functioning so well. Lots of people in Michigan and other places are visiting. What she's done is she says, you come to visit our school, cost you $15. And as of Christmas, she collected $7,500. And she's using that for in-service training and other things. And when she started charging, they want to come more than ever. So,
Hello, I'm Kay Bentley, principal of Huntington Woods Elementary School. I appreciate Dr. Glasser's comments about our school, and I hope that you enjoy learning a little bit more about how we've become a quality school. We were able to plan Huntington Woods School from a clean slate, so we decided there were several differences that we wanted to have at our school. One of those differences is the calendar. Our students go to school from the end of August to the end of July. They're able to take extra days of school during the year at our intersessions. We also wanted our students in multi-age learning families, each family with a team teacher. We built collaborative planning time into our regular weekly schedule by redesigning the time students are here. Our students have a longer Monday through Thursday and a shortened Friday. Staff members work together on Friday afternoon for our own professional growth and collaborative planning. Another difference is that we do not use textbooks. We make a high use of technology and don't worry about students plodding through a textbook page after page. Another difference in our school is that we teach all our students to speak Spanish. We believe that starting a foreign language at a very young age helps children acquire it more easily.
in any organization of any kind, whether it's a school or a business or a family or a church or a hospital, whatever it may be, any organization where human beings organize to do work, organize to work with each other, even as small a unit as a marriage, there is a system, and it's this system that I have been examining more and more and suggesting very strongly that we change. In the book, Control Theory in the Classroom, there was a chapter, I think chapter 7, called The Teacher is a Modern Manager. And in it I quoted at length an article by Albert Shanker about a man named Myron Tribus who was talking about a man named W. Edwards Deming. And W. Edwards Deming is an old man then and a very old man when he died last year. And W. Edwards Deming is the primary person in the world who said in business and industry, if we want to produce quality products, we need to change the system.
The building of a quality school is the responsibility of all who are involved in the school: administrators, teachers, students, and parents. Only through cooperation and collaboration can we successfully change from our current system. We need to replace the traditional approach which says, learn or I will hurt you, to a new approach which says, learn and it will add quality to your life. No longer do we use coercion to accomplish our goals. Our role as educational leaders is to move from boss managing to lead managing. I've been a principal who uses boss management and also one who now uses lead management. As a boss manager, I used positional power to try to get teachers to do what I wanted them to do. Boss managers threaten punishments, and they also promise rewards if they get what they want. Lead managers persuade others to accept their agenda. We want others to recognize that if they do what we ask, it will add quality to their lives. The distinction between the teacher as boss and the teacher as leader is illustrated by Dr. Glasser in his book, The Quality School. A boss drives, a leader leads. A boss relies on authority. A leader relies on cooperation. A boss creates fear. A leader creates confidence. A boss knows how. A leader shows how. A boss creates resentment. A leader breeds enthusiasm.
In a building where you're striving to be lead managed rather than boss managed, you know that people are there who want to help you, who truly care about you. And we, as a team, can go to others. We can always go to Kay. She's there for us at all times as we are there for her. And it's a real pleasure to know that people are there for you, that they are there because they care and they want to help.
And we have to change from an externally motivated psychology, which is stimulus response, to an internally motivated psychology, which is called control theory. When the girl didn't do her problems in the class, the temptation for people who don't know the new psychology would be overwhelming. Well, make her do them. Or if you can't make her do them, then punish her by failing her. Control theory says all of our behavior comes from within ourselves. Nothing comes from outside. For example, to use a bell again, but a more simple and well-known bell, let's say that here on this table I had a telephone, and the phone rang. And I picked it up and talked for a moment and hung it up, and then I asked you, why did I pick up the phone? And most people would say, well, you picked it up because it rang. This is common sense again. Ring is the stimulus, picking it up is the appropriate behavior for that stimulus. People would say, well, I don't go picking up phones that aren't ringing. And I'd say, well, true, most of us don't do that. But on the other hand, people believe you picked it up because it rang. And control theory says, no, you don't. No one has ever picked up a phone because it rang. No one ever will. All of your behavior comes from within inside yourself. In my own family, I have a child, very good child in many respects, but she has a genetic defect. And it was very puzzling defect, especially to her mother who loved telephones, and she doesn't answer the phone. And we know she's not deaf, she hears fine, and we ask her, why don't you answer the phone? And she says, I don't do phone. And so, I mean, this is not a baby girl anymore. She's 41 years old. And so, but the ring of the phone doesn't make you do anything. And this follows the control theory axiom that all behavior, remember, all you're going to do from birth until death is behave. It's all behavior. All behavior is chosen, except for the odd sneeze or cough or something like that, or you hear your stomach gurgling sometimes, that's not chosen. But any behavior that has any discernible psychological purpose is chosen. Therefore, when you answer the phone, you're choosing to do it. The ring of the phone is part of the operation, but not the cause of the operation. The cause of all of our behavior is inside of our heads.
For years, our schools have operated on a stimulus response system. The move to control theory will require risk-taking on the part of all those involved. Administrators and teachers will need to let go of the old paradigms and beliefs that we have been taught. Our job is not to be in charge of the school, but to create an environment where all members of the school community share in the responsibility and success of the school.
what I think is we're born with 5 basic needs or 5 basic purposes. When we're born, we don't know what they are and we don't know how to satisfy them. But we will learn. And we will learn because we're also born with the capacity to feel. Feel good or feel bad are the 2 major feelings. As we move to satisfy these needs, if we figure out how to do it, the reward is we feel real good. The more we satisfy them, the better we feel. If we move and attempt to satisfy them but don't succeed or don't try or don't develop the behaviors, choose the behaviors to satisfy them, then the behaviors which don't satisfy them are very painful, unhappy behaviors. And so the urge is always to move towards satisfying the needs.
I know that you've been talking a little bit about control theory and needs, fun, freedom, power, and belonging. And we have a play called The 3 Little Pigs. It's kind of like the story you've already heard about, but it's kind of the new version.
After learning about the 5 basic needs from Dr. Glasser's control theory, we used that knowledge in making decisions at our school. The first need is survival. Not only do we make certain our students are safe and comfortable at school, but our students help by serving lunch, caring for the school building, and caring for each other. Along with the need for survival, we consider the 4 psychological needs as we make decisions at school. Those needs are love and belonging, power or recognition, freedom, and fun.
How are you going to eat them?
The second need is very strong need is love and belonging. We all want love and belonging.
At our school, we want to meet our students' needs for love and belonging. One of the ways we do this is by having students placed in multi-age learning families. In our learning families, students are with a team of teachers and they stay with that same team for 3 years. Our multi-age has students 3 grade levels apart in each learning family. Students, teachers, and parents build lasting relationships over time. School and classroom activities are based on collaboration, with an emphasis on cooperative learning. Everyone in our community of learners at Huntington Woods feels that this is their school. There is ownership, support for one another, and a strong sense of belonging.
I have a lot of friends. I feel like the environment at Huntington Woods is really warm and caring, and the teachers care for you.
The third need is the need for power. Human beings want power. Most living creatures don't. We want someone else to listen to us. That's the minimum. If you ask kids about a good teacher again, cares for us, listens to what we have to say, pays attention to what's on our mind. And so that's certainly the need for power. If we don't do that in school, and more we're succeeding to do that at the school I'm in now, that's changing the system. Bosses don't listen.
The ability to be successful and recognized for one's success is a key to a need-fulfilling environment. Since the gaining of knowledge is one means of developing power, our schools have tremendous potential. We can recognize this potential by providing students opportunities to learn useful and relevant information. It is also said that the more people listen to us, the more powerful we become. Teachers must listen to students, and students must listen to each other. Working cooperatively encourages listening.
People listened to me when I was in the front of the State Board of Education. I was at a teachers' meeting when people listened to me. I host visitors through the school. I feel great. I mean, they're listening to me, a 5th grader, and everybody who is older than me are listening to me.
The need for freedom is just as it says. Everyone knows what it is. Freedom to do what you want to do, hopefully responsible freedom, where you don't stick your nose where it shouldn't be stuck and things like that, but certainly not destroying other people's rights for freedom and things like that. The thing with freedom is Freedom is tied to the most important thing, and we ruin it in school in most cases. The most important and one of the more pleasurable of all human behaviors are creative behaviors. Actually creating something, coming up with something new, something different than ever been around, doing something that's never been done before. Because our brain, and I can't explain this, it's in all the books, our brain is highly creative, but in a boss man system, we're fearful to use its creativity. We'll be punished for it.
Many students in our country view schools as oppressive environments with little or no student freedom. Schools are places where teachers tell them what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Our goal is to give students more choices in their learning, and ultimately, more control over their environment. They have choices on how to complete assignments, they have say in what they will learn, and they are encouraged to develop personal responsibility. One method to increase choice is our student clubs. Students and staff choose to participate in something of interest.
This is my first year at Huntington Woods, and at my old school, you didn't have any freedom at all. The teacher would just tell you what to do and you do that. But here they let you, like if the teachers have an idea, but you can come up with one that you'd rather do, but it's like still covering the same stuff, then the teachers, if it's okay with them, they'll let you do that. And they just like try and work more with you than against you.
Fun is the genetic reward for learning. People have asked me, seriously, I mean, they said, well, Dr. Glasser, how do you know if you're having fun? And I mean, you're laughing usually. I mean, you can have fun without laughing, but it's hard, you know. And so if you ask students again about a good teacher, they'll say, she makes learning fun. It's fun in that classroom. We laugh a lot in there. And Deming says, and he's the only management guru that puts this in words, there should be joy in work. There should be joy in education.
Schools must be fun for everyone who works in them, teachers as well as students. The current system of learn or I will hurt you has taken the fun out of learning. In fact, many traditional school practices actually promote the notion that learning should be painful to be worthwhile. Students do not typically have fun in a program of compulsory homework. At Huntington Woods, we strive for fun and joy in learning. We are committed to academic excellence, and we believe that learning must be useful and fun-filled.
So the quality world is, and I call it a world because it is the way we build within our head a kind of a world in our head, and this is the world that we would really like to live in if we could. You feel good or you feel bad depending on how effective your behavior is, but effective in terms of satisfying pictures, like a picture that you would place if you're reasonably like most people, of your mother in your quality world. Your quality world has within it people and things and belief systems. This quality world becomes the core of your life. This is absolutely the core of your life. The needs underlie it. But when you say, I'm frustrated, you're not talking about I'm frustrated in a need. Ultimately you may be, but you're really talking about I'm frustrated because there's a picture in my quality world that when I go out and behave in the real world where I have to satisfy my needs, certainly, I can't satisfy this particular picture. And so you put people in it. And so a school teacher, for example, who cares, and the kids say, this teacher cares for us. This teacher listens to us. This teacher encourages us to branch off a little in our thinking and not just do it the rote way. Creativity. This teacher, well, it's fun being in this teacher's classroom. We laugh a lot. That's the kind of a teacher, and the movie Stand Deliver with Jaime Escalante certainly exemplified the kind of a teacher he was.
Only students can put pictures of school, teachers and learning in their quality worlds. Information is all we can give them. No amount of preaching, rewards, or punishments can make students want anything. Once we realize this fact, our role as leaders in the classroom markedly changes. The pictures that students have in their quality worlds are their perceptions of how to fulfill their basic needs. These pictures drive their behavior. Only they can change the pictures. We can only provide more or different information. At Huntington Woods School, we focus on the 3 conditions of quality that Dr. Glasser gives us. The first is a warm environment with no coercion. Secondly is useful learning. We want our students to see the things that we're asking them to learn are important and will help them. Lastly is self-evaluation. Teachers and students at Huntington Woods engage in self-evaluation on a regular basis.
In a quality workplace, the manager and the workers, the teacher manager and the student workers, are never adversaries. These people are friends. They are warmly supportive of each other. In Kay's school and in a lot of the other schools now, they're printing this little sign. I have it in one of the books. I can't remember the words exactly. It's a lot of words. But basically it's this. In this school, we solve all problems through talking things over, with no one threatening or hurting anybody else. If you go to a little 3rd grader in that school and say, what do those signs mean? They could look at it like you're not so. They mean what they say. When we got a problem, we talk it over and we solve it. I mean, they really understand this.
While we were shooting this video, I saw Carrie in the hallway. She was here as a student last year and is now at our middle school. I asked her if she would like to talk to you a little bit about her impressions of school.
Yeah, Huntington was very neat and fulfilling because they taught me, and they'd make you feel kind of powerful sometimes because you'd be the one teaching some things, and then everyone kind of just, all the teachers kind of loved you.
The second condition for quality is always useful. We really don't follow that condition, and some of our best schools follow it the worst of all, unfortunately, because the main thing that we teach in school is not only useless, it's anti-educational, and yet it's prized beyond belief, and we teach it over and over again when we should be teaching useful stuff in school. Now, our curriculum is all potentially useful. There's nothing wrong with our curriculum. But what's wrong with our schools is that we teach our curriculum badly. But in school, we ask kids to memorize stuff. I mean, what do we do in school? Go into your schools. Teachers are asking children to commit things to memory for a test. And the test is, can they remember it? As Charles Schultz said in his Peanuts cartoon through one of his characters, the difference between an A student and an F student is the A student can remember it until 5 minutes after the test, the F student until 5 minutes before. Everybody knows it's going to be forgotten. I mean, everybody in this room have memorized countless things. In biology, every student has to fuss with this blurry ditto that was created about 1910. It's a round circular. It's become used, it's so blurry you can hardly see what's in it. And you have to label the blurry parts. And your blurry mind labels the blurry parts, and it all ends up a blur. It's the parts of a cell. What in the hell do you have to know the parts of a cell for? I mean, I'm sure some molecular biologists don't know every single thing that some elementary kids are probably learning. I mean, a cell has vacuoles. Who cares? You know. I mean, the learning is the functioning of the cell, how it works.
As a second condition of quality, teachers are asked to focus on useful and relevant learning. As administrators, our time with teachers should also be focused on relevant and useful interaction. That may mean we need to change the structure of staff meetings, professional development time, and our written communication with teachers. The third condition for quality is self-evaluation. Individuals improve and grow the most when they self-assess. At Huntington Woods School, we have found this to be true not only for students, but also for teachers. In an environment of trust and professionalism, teachers are best able to identify areas for their own improvement.
As a team, we use self-evaluation daily. At the end of every day, we go over the day and find ways that we could improve, especially in management techniques or lesson design, ways that it could have been more effective for the students. Self-evaluation personally, I not only use as a teacher, but in my life on a day-to-day basis. How can I improve? Quality is never static, and improvement for myself as a person out of school and as a teacher, it's important for me to constantly improve.
Please join me while I talk to some visitors to our school.
Okay, could you kind of give us a step-by-step timeline of when the seed was planted, and then, you know, step-by-step until you actually implement it?
Sure. People usually want to know, how did we start? And there's a group of us as administrators in our district who had been gathering together for quite some time, just kind of brainstorming and dreaming and saying, you know, what would we like to do if we really had an opportunity? And it's so difficult to change existing systems, but it's so important. If you believe in Deming's work, the problems aren't with the people, it's with the system. And so if we're dissatisfied, we need to change the system, not the people. Because we're all the time saying, how can we be more need-fulfilling for our students? And of course, those needs are the love and belonging, power, fun, and freedom. We're asking ourselves that all the time. How do kids get their power need met here? And how can we do that better? And I think that's important, and it helps our students.
Do you have students with special needs and inclusion and special ed programs here in the school?
As a staff, and this is unanimous, we do not believe in labeling students for special education, and we do not believe in external programs for students. And we say that, and also say that we believe all people who are in special education are doing absolutely the best they can with all good intentions. But we believe the system is flawed. And we think the system is flawed when you have to be so far in trouble before you get help, you know, before you qualify to get help. And we think the system is flawed when you have to have what is usually a pretty devastating label, and it's usually for the rest of your life, before you get help. And so we have not referred a single student to special education. We've not referred a single student as ADHD or as learning disabled or as emotionally impaired or anything. We do not have a special education resource teacher or a categorical room or anything. Our regular learning family teachers work with all students. They have educational paraprofessionals who are with them at least half a day. Those paraprofessionals are available at all times to tutor any students who need it, with or without a label.
What is different about Huntington Woods for you as a principal?
Well, I think the main difference is in so many jobs as a principal, it's been putting out one fire after another. And one of the things that's been so good here is that because we're need-fulfilling for students, we don't have a discipline problem. We sometimes have little incidents that come up that we need to talk through, but not being gone from one crisis to another means I'm able to be more creative. I'm able to spend more time with proactive kinds of things, planning for the future, working with teachers and students, and building those relationships. So for me, it is much more enjoyable than any job I've ever had.
How do you deal with discipline here?
We believe that all problems will be solved by talking them through. And so whether it's a discipline situation with an adult or a student, we talk it through. And we work to get it solved, and we don't threaten or hurt anyone, and we just talk it through. Listen to the approach I use in helping two students who experienced a problem on the playground. Brittany and Tasia, you were sent here by your teacher because the two of you have had a problem. Could one of you tell me what's happened, please?
She was calling me names, and
Okay.
they were really rude names.
Okay, Brittany was calling you names?
Yes.
All right, where were you when this was happening?
Out on the playground.
Okay, and what were you doing?
I was playing with my friends, and she just came up to me and started calling me names.
Did you call her names?
Yes.
Okay. Is that fit our consideration rule for you to call her names?
No.
Okay. When you were calling her names when she was there playing, what did you want?
I wanted to play with her and her friends.
Okay, so you wanted to play with that group of girls, and what you did was what?
I called them names.
Okay. Did calling her names help you get to play with her?
No.
All right. If you wanted to play with her again, what might be a way to get what you want?
Ask.
Okay. How would you ask her?
Maybe go up to him and say hi, and maybe say, can I play with you guys?
Okay. Do you think that would work better
Yeah.
than the name calling?
Yes.
Okay. Which do you think would work better for you?
If she'd come up and say, can I please play with you? And if we all agreed, then she could.
Okay. What'll happen if they say, no, not now? Do you have any other choices or anything else you might do?
Yeah. Go try to find some other friend.
Okay. What would you like to do the next time your group is outside?
Maybe ask if I could play with them. And if they say no, then go play on the monkey bars or something.
Okay. I think your class is going outside this afternoon. When you come back in from that break, would you please come and let me know what you did and how it worked out for you?
Okay.
Okay, that would be good. Thank you, girls.
Okay.
We must re-examine our fundamental beliefs. Many students are failing in our schools because our schools are failing them. Even those students who are successful are not doing their best work. Why? Because the current system has not been focused on quality.
Learning within the system, as most of us in this room did. We learned within it. We recognized it was not a good system. We couldn't do anything about it as students. But we can do something about it now if we want to, because we're no longer students. We have become a part of that particular system. And if we don't change it, it's not going to change. No one's going to come in and change it for us.